August 1st, 2024 meeting of the Town of Southampton Zoning Board of Appeals. This meeting is being held live and also via video conferencing in accordance with the Town Board's enactment of Local Law Number 14 of 2022. Our next meeting and those following also will be held in person here at Town Hall and will continue to allow for remote participation, so please keep checking the town's website for updates and any new information. If you wish to view tonight's live meeting only and not participate, please do not join the Zoom meeting and instead go to the town's website for viewing access. With that, I'd like to ask you to join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. For those of you here with us tonight, in case of an emergency evacuation, please exit through the rear doors of this room to one of the staircases located across the hall and continue to go downstairs and out through the main entrance. Do not attempt to use the elevators during an emergency evacuation. In case of a medical emergency, the automated external defibrillator and first aid kit are both located in the hallway on this floor opposite the elevator, and restrooms are located across the hall from this room. We'll begin this meeting with the public hearings. We have applicants and members of the public here with us live and also standing by via Zoom webinar, which is being moderated by CTV. CTV will mute the speakers on Zoom until it is their time to give testimony before the board. Please be patient. If you find that you're having difficulty accessing the hearing, visit the town clerk's meeting portal and click on the instructions link. Also, for those of you in the boardroom, please silence your cell phones and refrain from speaking to one another as it interferes with the recording of our proceedings. Tonight, board member Helen Burgess is participating via Zoom. A reminder that applicants, agents, and members of the public speaking other than attorneys will be sworn in, will state their address for the record, and will offer their testimony as it relates to the application before the board. In order to consider properly every application before us tonight, individuals commenting on a particular application have a time limit of 3 minutes. Also, before handing in any submissions to the board tonight, please make sure that the documents identify the ZBA application name and tax map number. The application name should also be written on your certified receipts. Unless otherwise stated at the end of an individual application hearing, all applications will remain open for written comments for all purposes until a set date. Those written comments can be addressed to members of the board and sent via email, mail, and or dropped off at Town Hall to the board secretary, Candace Cowell. At this time, I'd like a motion to approve the minutes of our July 18th, 2024 meeting.
Motion approved.
Second.
Mr. Leonard.
Aye.
Mr. Macedonia.
Aye.
Ms. Kane.
Aye.
Mr. Revin.
Aye.
Mr. McDonald.
Aye.
Ms. Burgess. Aye. Chair votes aye. Okay, John, would you like to take us through the agenda?
Yes, we're going to start with adjournments, starting with number 7 on the agenda. Application of Anthony Bartolomeo, 15 Hampton Road, Hampton Bays, Suffolk County Tax Map number 900-294-2-10. Applicant requests relief from the following provisions of the Town Code to legalize a rear-covered porch constructed without the benefit of a building permit. 1. Section 330-115C, continuance for a principal minimum side yard setback from 15.3 feet to 3.5 feet. And 2. Section 330-84D, pyramid law, for a sky plane encroachment on the west of 491 cubic feet. In addition, applicant requests relief from Town Code Section 330-6, General Regulations, as it references Section 330-11, Residence District's Table of Dimensional Regulations, for an accessory side yard setback from 10 feet to 1.4 feet for a pool, issued Certificate of Compliance A12764 in 1994, and any other relief necessary.
The board has jurisdiction.
This application will be adjourned to the September 5th meeting.
Is there a second?
Second.
Mr. Leonard.
Aye.
Mr. Macedonia.
Aye.
Ms. Kane.
Aye.
Ms. Burgess. Mr. McDonald.
Aye.
Mr. Revin.
Aye.
Chair votes aye.
Okay, turning to application number 8 on the agenda, 94 Dune Road Holding Company, Corporation, 94 Dune Road Holding Corporation, 94 Dune Road, East Quogue, Suffolk County Tax Map Number 900-385-1-37.3. This application will be adjourned to October 3rd.
Motion?
Is there a second?
Second.
Mr. Leonard?
Aye.
Mr. McDonald?
Aye.
Mr. Redmond?
Aye.
Ms. Burgess? Mr. Macedonia? Ms. Kane?
Aye.
Chair votes aye.
Number 10 on the agenda, application of Marie Daly, 9 Pine Road, Noyak, Suffolk County Tax Map Number 900-5-5-29. This application will be adjourned to our September 5th meeting.
Second.
Second?
Mr. Leonard?
Aye.
Ms. Kane?
Aye.
Mr. Macedonia?
Aye.
Mr. Redmond?
Aye.
Mr. McDonald?
Aye.
Ms. Burgess? Chair votes aye.
Number 11 on the agenda, application of 625 Butter Lane Homestead LLC, Agricultural Reserve, Bridgehampton, Suffolk County Tax Map Number 900-51-1-17.7. This application will be adjourned to our October 3rd meeting.
Second? Third?
Mr. Leonard?
Aye.
Mr. McDonald?
Aye.
Mr. Redmond?
Aye.
Ms. Burgess? Ms. Kane?
Aye.
Mr. Macedonia?
Aye.
Chair votes aye.
Okay, turning to the decision calendar. These applications will be, the decisions on these applications will be adjourned to the August 15th meeting. Patricia Spado, Argon Oshlani, 43 Newtown LLC, and 142C Newtown LLC.
Second?
Mr. Leonard?
Aye.
Mr. Macedonia?
Aye.
Ms. Kane?
Aye.
Mr. Redmond?
Aye.
Mr. McDonald?
Aye.
Ms. Burgess? Aye. Chair votes aye.
I move to reopen the application of 45 Pinecrest Lane LLC for written submissions.
Second?
Mr. Leonard?
Aye.
Mr. Macedonia?
Aye.
Ms. Kane?
Aye.
Mr. Redmond?
Aye.
Mr. McDonald?
Aye.
Ms. Burgess? Aye. Chair votes aye.
I move to close the hearing on 45 Pinecrest Lane LLC for a decision later this evening.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
I move to reopen the application of Mary Lee Cresci for written submissions.
Second?
Mr. Leonard?
Aye.
Mr. Macedonia?
Aye.
Ms. Kane?
Aye.
Ms. Burgess? Aye. Mr. McDonald?
Aye.
Mr. Redmond?
Aye.
Chair votes aye.
I move to close the application of Mary Lee Cresci for a written decision later tonight.
Second.
All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries.
I move to reopen the application of Martha Shabla for written submissions.
Second?
Mr. Leonard?
Aye.
Mr. Macedonia?
Aye.
Ms. Kane?
Aye.
Ms. Burgess? Aye. Mr. McDonald?
Aye.
Mr. Redmond?
Aye.
Chair votes aye.
I move to close the application of Martha Shabla for a written decision later tonight.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
And finally, I move to reopen the application of Eva Wisnowski for written submissions.
Second?
Mr. Leonard?
Aye.
Mr. Macedonia?
Aye.
Ms. Kane?
Aye.
Ms. Burgess? Aye. Mr. McDonald?
Aye.
Mr. Redmond?
Aye.
Chair votes aye.
And I move to close the application of Eva Wisnowski for written decision later tonight.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Okay, turning to the top of the agenda, number 1, application of Charles and Doreen Levine, 9 North Shore Road, Hampton Bays, Suffolk County Tax Map Number 900-125-1-17. Applicant requests relief from Town Code Section 330-6 General Regulations that references Section 330-11 Residence Districts Table of Dimensional Regulations for a principal front yard setback of 52.5 feet where 60 feet is required for a proposed one-story addition and covered front porch addition to an existing dwelling on a non-conforming lot and any other relief necessary.
The board has jurisdiction.
Helen, this is your application.
Are we still waiting for any materials from the Southern County Planning?
Yes, because this is a minor application, the board typically doesn't have a public hearing. Oftentimes, we render a decision the same night because it's a minor, but we have to make a referral to the Suffolk County Planning Commission.
Okay.
So we're still waiting on that referral.
So do we,
So what do we
okay, go ahead, Helen.
Pardon me?
Go ahead.
In that case, we have to leave the application open and we can set up, Penny, you think it's appropriate enough time that we can set it up for August 15th?
Yeah, I think we should try.
Okay, so I'll put it on for August 15th and hopefully we'll be able to have
Second.
Okay, Ms. Burgess?
Excuse me?
We're voting on the adjournment. Ms. Burgess? Mr. Macedonia?
Aye.
Ms. Kane?
Aye.
Mr. Leonard?
Aye.
Mr. Brevin?
Aye.
And Mr. McDonald?
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Okay, adjourned to August
No,
15th.
a decision on August 15th, because it's a minor.
It's a decision, I'm
Yep.
sorry.
That's
A
okay.
decision.
So we're holding it open for decision?
Decision. So,
Hold open.
okay, thank you for
For-
the correction, Katie.
Okay, we
Okay,
are going
wait.
out of order.
Yes.
We're going to call the application number 9 on the agenda. Application of Richard F. Reiner Trust, 611 Narrow Lane, Sagaponic, Suffolk County Tax Map number 900-54-2-46.1.
Good evening, board members. William Shapiro on behalf of the applicant, Mr. Richard Reiner, who's here with me tonight.
Okay, let me swear you in. Oh, did we swear you in
He's an
before?
attorney, but
Okay, if you're an attorney, I don't need to swear you
Oh,
in. But
yes.
just please state your name again
Sure.
and your address for
sure.
the record.
William D. Shapiro,
Okay.
135 Main Street, second floor, West Hampton Beach, New York, 11978. I'm here on behalf of the applicant, Richard Reiner.
Okay. And Mr. Reiner, your name and address.
My
Sorry,
name
it's a
is Richard,
technicality.
Richard Frederick Reiner, and I'm at 611 Narrow Lane, Bridgehampton, New York.
Okay, thank you.
11932.
Okay, you've been here before. Let's
Yeah.
hear what's going on.
So we were here a couple months ago. We submitted what I think is a pretty thorough brief earlier this month. I hope the board members all had an opportunity to review it, but if not, we'll hit the salient points tonight. Basically, the thrust of this memorandum talks about the historical use of the property and how what we're seeking to legalize is in fact how this property has always been. We actually have somebody here as well in the crowd, in the front row, who's going to speak on behalf of the property as well when she's given a chance. So I'm going to hand this over to Ms. Pine now, who'd like to address the board.
Okay.
By the way,
Yes.
there are new board members, so you
Yes.
may want to cover it a little bit more in depth than you would normally. Okay?
I'm ready for that.
Okay, good. Okay,
I'm
good.
ready for that. Thank you. Good evening, everyone. I'm Richard Reiner, owner of 611 Narrow Lane. Thank you for allowing me to speak about my variance application. I want you to know that I took to heart all the suggestions made at our prior hearing and deeply apologize if we were not as prepared as we should have been to address your concerns. Since then, I personally researched, called in resources, and reviewed prior ZBA decisions for the last 2 decades for help to address this application. I called and had many discussions with my neighbor, Nancy Dubin. Results I will present today. They are also presented in more detail in the brief I filed with the ZBA about 3 weeks ago. I was born in California. I have lived part-time in New York City since 2017 and then bought this house. Yes, I know you too. And bought this house in Bridgehampton in March of 2021 for myself, girlfriend, and families. While I did not grow up in the Hamptons, I grew to love it here in my years in New York City. At the time of my purchase, my home had a finished 3rd floor, which housed a bedroom, bathroom, and sitting room. These are depicted in the pictures provided as part of the brief submitted to the ZBA, and I have larger versions of those photos of the same pictures with me tonight. The interior of the house is 2,176 square feet, including 809 square feet for the 3rd floor, and for that I rely on the finished plans from our licensed architect, Fernando Gonzalez. I use the 3rd floor as a bedroom, gym, sitting area, and office. My girlfriend uses the dining area for her office. Every square foot of this house is used for living, sleeping, playing, and working. While I was made aware during the sales process that the certificate of occupancy issued for the house was not consistent with having a finished 3rd floor, I was not aware that there were other code violations that had crept in over the years, including overclearing, fencing, lack of a fire alarm, 2nd, 3rd floor egress, and others. I determined that to enjoy this house properly, all of these violations, as well as the certificate of occupancy, needed to be addressed. The question was how to do this and what is the history of the home. I was not familiar with law and practice in Southampton or how to go about this, so it took some time to put together the facts, circumstances, and evidence. I have addressed the code violations other than fire sprinklers, which will be installed if and once the variance is approved. The permit for same has already been secured. The other code violations are already ready for reinspection. I credit my lawyer, a helpful Southampton Building Department, and the town clerk of Southampton, my next door neighbor, Nancy Dubin, who is sitting behind me, my girlfriend, and a ton of research with being able to present the full case of our variance request today. What we have discovered in our presenting today is that this home, consisting of a finished attic, 3 bedrooms on the 2nd floor, a ground floor family room, dining area, den, and kitchen, existed in the current configuration, more or less, since the house or the home was constructed in the late 70s. I presented as part of our brief both a statement from my next door neighbor, Nancy Dubin, who is here today, confirming her personally witnessing that the 3rd floor was in use as far back as 1984 by 3rd owner, Merrill Shell, I might be mispronouncing her name, Merrill Shell, who bought the house with a finished 3rd floor bedroom in June of 1984. She did not do any construction work on the house herself, according to Nancy. Nancy purchased her home in 1987. Merrill knew the original owner, Robert Baer, who apparently physically built the original home himself, according to Merrill, as communicated to Nancy. Beryl built the original 3rd floor bedroom in the attic space and needed it for himself and his family. That's where we derived the view that this house contained a 3rd floor finished bedroom since the 1982 certificate of occupancy, if not before. The pictures from 2000, now, there are pictures that I submitted that date from 2013, which fairly present the bedroom as it was originally constructed, according to Nancy. I received these pictures from a former owner who purchased the home in 2014 and who decided to renovate it without changing the structure, footprint, or configuration. The pictures date from November 2013. I have that date mark before the former owner purchased, showing a finished 3rd floor bedroom inside and outside. I have furnished these pictures to the board. I have larger versions of the same with me tonight if desired. At that time, the house was at the time the house was built, I have been made aware that 2.5 stories were permissible in Southampton, and I'm not sure why that wasn't referenced in the C of O. While the inspector may not have seen a finished 3rd floor in 1982, it was clearly contemplated in the external structure, which is visible, which has not changed since then, or in the 1987 renovation by the former owner who furnished me the pictures. The house has been the house. Given that, a variance will not result in any change to the neighborhood, one of the standards the ZBA uses to approve variances. I have been made aware that there are no fewer than 8 variance applications similar to mine that have been approved by the ZBA and that we have included references to in our brief, including Wild Goose, approved in December 2023. In each of these decisions, reference is made to a non-conforming 3rd floor finished bedroom that was sought approval for because family needs, 2, structure otherwise conforms to town code, 3, promises there will be no further building or expansion of the 3rd floor, and 4, if the house is demolished, the variance does not survive to cover a succeeding structure. We agree with all of those limitations and any others the ZBA may reasonably impose. Our brief discusses the other standards used to approve variances, which we believe we fall within. In short, the requested legalization involves no change to the exterior of the structure, which has remained the same since 1977. The requested variance involves no substantial change as the 3rd floor already exists within the structure and footprint of the home, which again has remained the same since 1977. The benefit sought cannot be achieved by another method other than selling the house at a substantial loss, as would basically be unlivable, as I've discussed. The space occupied in the 3rd floor is a material part of the enjoyment of the home for living, sleeping, working, and playing. While knowingly buying the home with a faulty certificate of occupancy might be deemed self-creating my own hardship, your decisions clearly state that this fact in and of itself should not be grounds to deny the requested relief. I've included as part of our package estimates to return the 3rd floor to uninhabitable space at $76,000, as well as a $750,000 drop in market value per Patrick McLaughlin from Douglas Elliman if the 3rd floor is again returned to habitable space. We note that there has been no opposition to our application, that our home otherwise conforms to town code. We've already met with a town building inspector to inspect the premises for other code violations and have addressed all of those violations identified, including the fire sprinklers and the second egress to the 3rd floor, which were approved by the building department and will be put in if the variance is granted. Nancy Dubin is here to answer questions, and she can validate or say anything she wants about what I have said, all of which she's heard for the first time. Of course, she did write the statement that I included as part of the brief.
I would like to hear her testimony
Please
since she did come down to join us. Would you like to come up and I can swear you in? Right there.
Right there.
Let me swear you in.
Pardon me?
I'm going to swear you in.
Okay.
Do you promise to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Okay, please state your name and address.
Nancy Dubin, 613 Narrow Lane.
Okay. Ms. Dubin, do you want to give us the information that was referenced by the applicant?
Okay, I couldn't really hear what he was saying, so I'll just tell you.
Okay, that's fine.
I mean,
Just tell us what you know.
Yeah.
That works.
I bought my house, I think it was 1987, and at that time, the owner of 611 was a woman named Merle Shell. Merle and I were friendly, and we'd visit and spend time with each other. And at that time, she used the third floor as her master bedroom. At that time, she was single and had a large dog. And then eventually she adopted a child on her own. But she always used that as her master bedroom. I mean, I only was in the house, upstairs like once or something, but I know that's how it was used. Then eventually, I don't remember when Merle moved, but she moved and two other people bought the house and they used the house in the same way. The third floor was always a bedroom. And that was Joe Canavan, and I don't know what the other guy's name was right now. It's in the records. And then eventually,
The Kevin Wilson, it's 2000.
am I telling you what you need to know?
Yes,
No, yeah.
yes.
Okay,
Continue.
so they would rent the house most of the time, and Joe also was the person that took down. He took down the trees to put in the pool, and I told Richard that pool went in 5 days. I left one Sunday and it wasn't there, and on Friday when it came out, they were filling it with water. So in any case, eventually, Joe sold the house to Tara Camonte, and she lived there with her family and her partner, and they had a lot of children. And then, and also used the third floor as the bedroom. And then eventually they did this massive renovation, which, they sort of tore the house apart and put it back together, closed windows and did all kinds of things. And then they sold it, or they sold it to somebody else. I didn't know who they sold it to, but the next time it was on the market with the people that owned it before Richard bought it, I was in that house when the broker had, like a broker's open house, because I didn't know those people, but I went to her open house and just looked around because I'm a neighbor, and the bedroom, and it still was the same situation with
What year was that, ma'am?
the top floor being the
Sure.
master bedroom.
What year did you?
What year was
see it
that?
at the broker open house?
Was that
What-
before or after?
It
Tara?
was. Pardon me.
Was it before or after Tara bought?
After Tara, because Tara sold it to some people that I never that I
She was-
didn't, the Goldsmiths. I never knew them. They were the only people that ever lived there that I didn't know, but I never knew them. And so when their broker was selling it to Tara, not to Tara. I guess you bought it from the
I bought it from
Goldsmiths.
Goldsmith.
So
Goldsmith bought it in 18.
that broker, I think she might have been from Brown Harris Stevens. But anyway, I went in and looked at the house, and it's still the same thing. It's always been, the top floor master bedroom.
So you
But
saw it the first time in the late 80s?
yes.
You moved in 87,
Yeah.
sometime after that you saw
Right.
it.
Yeah.
And also, so the pictures attached to your letter are the pictures that Ms. Camonte provided to
Well-
Mr. Reiner, correct?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay,
I don't.
but I don't care the timing so much,
Okay.
just your testimony. Is this the way that the upstairs looked when you saw it in the late 80s?
Yeah,
The pictures that are attached to your letter is the way it looked in the late 80s.
yeah, I mean, it was always, the bed was at the far end of the room, the bathroom. I'm not sure exactly what Tara did with the bathroom, but the bathroom was.
But it was
just-
sheetrocked, it
to-
was
to-
finished.
Oh, yeah, it was all
It was a
finished.
finished
Oh, no,
upstairs.
I mean,
Okay,
like,
yes.
like
Okay.
comfortable, like a.
Regardless of
It
furniture,
was, it was,
finished.
it was like a bedroom sitting area
With the bathroom.
with a bathroom
Mhm.
and
And it was a
and
full
a deck,
bath. Is that
a full
correct?
bath,
Okay.
full bath with a deck.
All right, and so since 1987, this has existed, it, probably earlier than that, it existed as a third floor bedroom.
Yeah, that's what Merle told me. She
Okay.
told me that he
Okay.
built the house that way. She
Okay.
didn't do anything. I'm a real estate broker, so I mean, this is my business.
So the owner at that time told you that she purchased the house with the upstairs
Oh,
looking
yeah.
like that?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Well, I think that you have done a lot of research, and for that we're really grateful. I think it's certainly a lot more supports the view that has existed for a while, and there was some concern on the part of some board members in the past. I'm feeling pretty comfortable about that. We have approved in the past, but we've also had this with the stipulations that you put in your letter, which is basically any, if the house comes down, there's no third floor approval. If you renovate or add, there's no additional to the third floor. Assuming that we get the right kinds of situations and stipulations in the opinion, I'm feeling a little bit more comfortable about this application. I don't know how the rest of the board members feel, but that's where I'm coming from.
You're looking at me.
Okay, does it require?
I still feel
This
kindred
is
with
my
you.
application, so
Sprinklers are
Oh,
required.
the sprinklers
We
will have to
we
be
have the
installed,
permit
and the
it's ready
permit
to
is,
go.
they have
Ready
it.
to go.
And then the second egress, too, you said.
Yeah, it's part of
It's
the
already
Right,
done.
right.
With that, I have no problem.
Yeah, no, I think if you said you're gonna deal with all the code violations and other things that.
I'm ready for inspection on everything except the fire sprinklers because they're not in. I'm waiting for.
You're waiting for this
because
decision, and then
it's a lot of
assuming the
extra money.
decision is
Yeah, if
given,
this-
you will be putting them in
I already
because you
have
have
a
a
contract
permit.
for it. I just
Yes,
tell them.
Okay.
yes, correct.
Yeah, and so as far as I'm concerned, I think that Ms. Dubin's testimony resolves many of the issues for me. I would just note for practitioners and whatnot that, we have seen in here estimates of what it would cost to, demolish and whatnot. It would be nicer if those were a little more detailed in the future
That's
for
right.
people. And, keep in mind that, change in the value to the property is not really going to be
That's
dispositive
not
to us.
something that we.
And it's not something we really deal with.
Right.
But the provenance of the third floor is really what we have looked at. A lot of the cases that you identified, the 2023 case, I was on the board for 1 month. I recused myself from that. I probably would not have approved it. And all the other ones from 2019 back, we're really looking more towards has this, our most recent one that we approved that had been in the house had been in the family since the 70s, and the third floor had existed in a finished state
Right,
since
right.
the 70s.
Yeah.
So you hit all the marks.
Yes,
Thank
no, I really do appreciate the
Yeah.
research you did. It makes us much more comfortable. So, it's my application. Any other comments from the board? Is there anybody in the audience who wishes to be heard on 611 Narrow Lane in Sagaponack? Is there anyone on Zoom who wishes to be heard on this application? Okay, so I am going to close the public hearing. We will keep it open for written submissions until August 16th with a decision on September 5th.
Second.
Mr. Leonard,
Aye.
Ms. Payne,
Aye.
Ms. Mastrigonia,
Aye.
Mr. Levin,
Aye.
Mr. McDonald,
Aye.
Ms. Burgess. Chair votes aye. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you,
Thank
Mr.
you
Minor.
very
Good luck with everything.
Thank you for your
so
time.
Thank you for your time. Thank you for the
Thank you for your work.
Yes.
Okay.
Very nice job.
Going back to Application number 2 on the agenda. Application of Timothy and Constance Cassidy, 35 West Trail Road, North C, Suffolk County Tax Map Number 900-46-1-5. Applicant requests relief from the following provisions of the Town Code for proposed detached garage. 1. Section 330-6, General Regulations that references Section 330-11, Residence Districts Table of Dimensional Regulations, total side yards from 60 feet to 49.7 feet. And 2, Section 330-76D, placement of accessory building structures and uses in all districts, and Section 330-83C yards to allow the detached garage to be located within the required side yards of the principal building on a non-conforming lot and any other relief necessary.
Board has jurisdiction. Hold on 1 second, I'm just gonna pass something down. I'm gonna put the original in there for you.
Okay, I need to, are you an attorney? Can I swear you?
Yes.
Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Please state your name and address.
Constance Cassidy, 35 West Trail Road, Southampton, New York, 11968.
Okay, Kimberly, if you want to state your name and address.
Kimberly Judd, 737 Roanoke Avenue, Riverhead, New York, for the applicant.
Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
Okay,
Sean
please state.
Leonard, 320 Hampton Road, Southampton. Thank you.
John, okay, tell us about this application.
This is a property, a flag lot, and it's comprised of a lot on the 1972 subdivision map, the Roscoe subdivision. And at the time of the subdivision in 1972, these properties were all located in the A zoning district, which had a minimum lot area requirement of 40,000 square feet. So this lot has 47,000 square feet. So at the time, in 1972, when the map was filed, it conformed to lot area. Throughout the years, it was, as the area around here was upzoned substantially to 5-acre zoning CR 200. So a lot of the lots in this area, most of them, became non-conforming. The last upzone was 1983, and that's when it was upzoned to CR 200 to 5-acre zoning. I submitted a single and separate demonstrating that this property has been single and separate since the subdivision map was filed. And the importance of that is, if I can demonstrate that it's single and separate, we get to retain our A zoning, our prior zoning, and which was based on the lot area of 40,000 square feet. So we've got quite a bit of certificates of occupancy on this lot. I had submitted all of the COs, We've got a CO that was issued in 1984 for one-family dwelling, swimming pool and deck, a certificate of compliance in 2006 for tennis court and shed. And by the way, the tennis court was built pursuant to A zone, so it's only 10 feet from the property line. We have a certificate of compliance from 2011 for a finished basement, no cooking. We have certificate of compliance from 2016 to legalize existing storage shed and basement. We have a building permit that's still open. I don't know if you went to the property, but you can see that you're the lead, right? Okay, so
I'm nodding like I'm following.
okay,
Yes.
so there is an open, valid building permit to demolish the vinyl pool that was there. And if you were at the property today, you'll see there's a new gunite swimming pool there with a code-compliant barrier. And there's an open building permit that's still valid to enlarge and finish the basement. I only need one variance. And when I wrote my application, I thought I needed 3. No, I thought I needed 3.
Great.
So I want to show you what, after doing this for 25 years, you still learn something. If you take a look at this draft right over here, your typical house that's situated on the lot where the green is, the front and the back of the house are usually parallel to the road, right? So the way I was taught when I first started practicing here a long time ago, you draw a line to the front of the house, you draw a line to the back. Anything in between these 2 green lines is in a required side yard, right? You need a variance for it.
Right.
So what do you do when your house is tilted? So this is the situation here. So what I did was I drew a line the front of the house to the back of the house, and I said, I can't have anything over here, right? Because I drew the red lines here.
Yeah.
My garage, only a little bit, is in the required side yard. I'll just slide it up. And you'll see here, building inspector does not agree with Kim. So, and I said, well, why can't I do it this way? And he said, no, it's your line, even though your house is tilted,
The line.
the line is parallel to the street this way. So the whole garage ends up being in the required side yard. You'll see that the building inspector did write a letter saying that I didn't need any setback relief. So that's the only variance I need, is to have it in the required side yard. And if you take a look at the survey,
So, I'm sorry, so the request for the 49.7 goes away?
yes,
Back, okay, that's confused me.
yes.
I was like, where is it?
Well, he and I had talked about that, and I said, well, why
where's it on
do
the
I
survey?
need that? The garage is detached. He would be correct if it was attached, right? But you see in his memo, he says detached in it, so, I think that was what it was about. But if you look at the lot, there's no place else to put the garage. And if you flip over to the next page, because the one thing I asked the architect was, why can't we just attach it to the house? And when I went to the property, I saw this substantial grade change, so I went and stood next to it. I'm only a little over 5 feet tall. I stood over here, and the first floor was over my head. So, and you can see that there's an electrical box over here, and they would have to take out all these trees over here if they were gonna put the garage here, and they would have to do grading and build a retaining wall. So I think the area where they're proposing it, they don't have to do much grading, they don't have to do much tree removal. There's no place else on this property to put it unless you wanna go all the way to the back here, and you're not gonna be able to squeeze a car in between the tennis court and the swimming pool. So, we did talk to the neighbor who would be most impacted, which is Mr. Tolson. His property's right here. He wrote a letter in the package, he said no objection. And my client spoke to another neighbor, and they said, I don't remember which one it was, I'm sorry.
Mussolino
Okay,
and Gang, John Gang.
John Gang,
Yes.
okay.
And both were no issues, no concerns.
So I don't know if you have any questions for me, my client, or Mr. Leonard.
Well, Kevin, this is yours.
Yep.
You wanna-
So, the only question I have really is in an effort to, if you could, I get what I'm looking at is some attempt to center the garage on the tennis court. I don't know how important that is, but to the extent it could be heightened to the house without running into the issue you just described.
I'm gonna let him talk
that
about
possible?
that, is that possible?
Well, the closer we get to the house, then the further it starts to go up on the grade.
Right.
Yeah, because that grade starts to go up.
Well, that's my question.
Yeah.
In other words, are you as tight as you can to the beginning of the sharp grade increase?
Yeah, and one of the things too is that it just so happened that in that area, kind of where we have it positioned, was somewhat cleared to start with, and there was a few trees that were left, and they were already rotted at the base. And the tree guy came by, and he said, "These trees are not going to survive. The ones that are up on the hill, get closer, are actually in good shape."
Right.
And if you visit the property, the house, when you inside the house and you're standing up, it's kind of like you're at a tree house because you're surrounded by all the trees in the woods, and you look around. And that's one of the things that they enjoy most about it. And if we could keep the garage there and not have to take down any more trees, it would be beneficial to.
What, if anything, describe what the top portion of the garage, how is that finished?
Oh, the top, it's just a simple gable garage.
Anything inside?
No, there's no second floor.
Open.
Oh, it's just all open.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's a minimal height, open, all up to the top. The rafters are all open, so it's just the space for the two cars, and then we just had a little shed in the back to be able to put storage.
Anybody else?
No setbacks.
Yeah, what's the setback on the side?
Oh, right now
I know it's 26, but
26.5.
what is it supposed to be?
If we were titled to A,
And
I'd say
in
10 feet. I
10
don't know
feet.
if
I was just
Mr.
looking-
Gearhauser would agree
It's an
with me.
accessory, yeah.
It's an
Yeah,
accessory.
accessory.
I was just
Um,
looking up the
yeah.
table and looking for it.
It looks like it's positioned in the best spot on the property, in my opinion. And given that you described the fact that there's a topography issue and there are some removal tree issues, if you were to move closer to the house, I'm not having a problem with this application. Is there anybody else who wishes to comment?
Oh, I have absolutely no problem.
So we want to have the.
So, no, I'll ask. Is there anyone in the audience who wishes to be heard on the application of 35 West Trail Road? Is there anybody on Zoom who wishes to be heard on the application of 35 West Trail Road? Okay, Kevin, this is yours.
So we'll,
Written,
what were the dates for the?
written submissions 8/16,
16 to 9.
And
Next time,
9/5.
with the decision on 9/5, okay.
9/5, right.
So very good,
Second.
so, thank you.
Mr. McDonald?
Aye.
Mr. Leonard?
Aye.
Ms. Kane?
Aye.
Mr. Macedonia?
Aye.
Mr. Bevan?
Aye.
Ms. Burgess? Chair votes aye.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Number 3 on the agenda, application of Lewis and Clark LLC, 1285 Flying Point Road, Watermill, Suffolk County Tax Map Number 900-179-1-27.1. Applicant requests relief from the following provisions of the Town Code for a proposed second-story addition to the existing dwelling on a non-conforming lot. Section 330-11, Note 6, residence story addition to the existing dwelling on a residence district table of provincial regulations, and section 330-84E, height, to allow the height of a dwelling located in a flood zone to be 46 feet where a maximum height of 42 feet is permitted and any other relief necessary.
Board has jurisdiction.
Good evening to the applicant. My name is John Bennett and Reed, 212 Whitman Lane, Southampton, New York, and with me is the project architect, Elliot Lee from Stephen Harris.
Okay, let me swear you in, unless you're an attorney. Okay. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Please state your name and your address, please.
Elliot Lee of Stephen Harris Architects, 50 Warren Street, New York, 10007.
Okay. Can you, L-E-E? Okay, Mr. Bennett, do you want to take us through this application?
Sure. Let me hand out these diagrams, which are going to show very handily, I believe, why this shouldn't be a problem at all for the board. And I don't say that lightly either. No, I don't. No, seriously. This is. I actually have to say to you, I'm sort of scratching my head while we're here. This really should have been handled as a modification of a variance. This property benefits already from height relief from the required 42 to 46 feet. Running with a land variance for a full second story on this property, 3,277 square feet. It was not built out. It wasn't built out. The applicant chose to build a one-story house. And now the applicant proposes the construction of a modest 916 square foot second floor. So that's about 1/3 of the variance that already exists on the property.
So the second story was never built.
Second story was never built. I'm trying to figure out, seriously, I know I say that often, people say
No, I
it's
know,
not,
and I was gonna quickly jump in and say, these are also just granted based on the plans and the survey, but you're right, if it was never built, you're asking for less, you're saying, than was granted.
Less than was originally granted.
About a third.
Well, but there was a modified decision to go back to one story. So the actual active decision, modification of the decision is one story.
Yeah, but that doesn't
well,
doesn't do away with that doesn't do away with what led this board to come to the conclusion.
That may be, but I
that-
just want there to be clarification that the actual current variance, that's, if you consider that still inactive, is for one story.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but there's still
Right?
There's
Yep.
still,
Yep,
there's still
that's what it is.
the board still made a finding that a 3,277 square foot second story at 46 feet, where 42 is required, met all the standards of the code. So we're here the standards for granting a variance relief. So we're here for a second story of 916 square feet. So in the decision of May 21st, 2019, the matter of Tony Chang, the board approved a two-story residence constructed at the height of 46 feet of 3,277 square feet. And the project architect was Stephen Harris, the very same architect who firm that has proposed the addition before you this evening. Now the current owner seeks permission to construct there's a much smaller second story, which doesn't need any relief other than what I would consider a continuation of a set of fact findings that this board already made. I've handed out these illustrative drawings that Elliot put together for you. The first is the decision D102550 had a first floor gross floor area of 3,277 square feet. What exists now is 3,572 square feet, so the first floor is about 300 square feet larger. And what's telling is the variance was granted by decision D102550 for a second floor of 3,277 square feet, but proposing 916 square feet. So that actually what we're proposing is 2,066 square feet less, than the 6,554 square foot variance, including a full second story that was approved by the board in D102550. Ellie can answer any details if you want, but I think these drawings speak for themselves. What you have on the first drawing, Elliot has by a red line shown what the original variance was granted for. And you'll see that it was a somewhat different design for the house, but nevertheless, all of the improvements that are proposed sit on top of that second floor that was given approval to 46, sit on top of the existing first floor and the second floor was given relief of 4 feet. So that's very helpful. So you can see that it's a mere 1/3 of what was proposed before. And then on the second plan, you'll see the red line again, what was approved on the second floor variance by that variance D102550, and what is proposed here. It's literally 1/3 of what this board granted. So what did this board do when it granted that height variance? It did what this board often does when you have a situation where you have the height limitations of 42 square feet, but you have FEMA elevation requirements to deal with. And what I will provide for the board, not only of course on this, the history of this demonstrates that this is how this board has typically handled these matters, but I do have a series of variances, I think most of which, maybe not all of them, but most of which I was personally involved in, all of which grant height relief. In some cases 46.5 feet, some cases 44, some cases 45, and they are a matter of 241 Dune Road. Relief was granted to 44 feet. A matter of Helene Feldman, 187 Dune Road. Relief was granted to 45.5 feet. Matter of William Siegel, 227 Mid-Ocean Drive. Relief was granted to 46.75 square feet. Matter of 161 Mid-Ocean Drive. Relief was granted to 45.5 feet. And finally, matter of 143 Mid-Ocean Drive, where relief was granted to 45 feet, 9.5 inches. So this has been a very typical matter of handling applications where the height requirements are understandably lessened when the board is dealing with a property that is in a flood zone. This board has been cognizant of the fact that that is the way that these things should be handled. We've tried to get the town board to simply recognize a little bit more relief. I think they're more comfortable in dealing with it, having this board dealing with it on a case-by-case basis. But for example, if you were sitting where we are physically in the village of Southampton, is 28 feet for a flat roofed house, 35 feet for a traditional gabled roof house. The jumping off point is the base floodplain elevation. So if you're in a VE 18, you can have a house that's 50 feet high. They do it automatically. I think the town board is more comfortable letting you guys look at it on a case-by-case basis, but I can't remember a time when somebody has come in a zone such as this and asked for height relief when it hasn't been granted, and for obvious reasons. It's hard to get the vertical sort of envelope. And by the way, we haven't been piggish about it at all. If you'll look at the plans, you'll see that the portion that we've done with the second story addition we've actually created the barrier for the deck by sinking the deck. So, usually people will come in and say, well, my head is going to be 44 feet. I need a 3-foot rail. I need 47 feet. We actually kept within the existing height variance of 46 feet, and the deck is going to be sunken in Elliot's very ingenious and wonderful design.
So the top of the railing is going to be 46 feet.
It really actually wouldn't even be a railing. Elliot, please.
Well, whatever it is.
Yeah.
It's essentially
The top of
the
whatever
46
structure is up there is going to be a
It's
46.
going to be the top of the rail.
Okay.
And we're covering it. Can I also just add one thing? That
Yeah,
I think
that's what you're here for.
2009, the main reason that we were granted that height variance was because the FEMA classification in that buildable area was changed from E11 to E16.
Yeah, dramatically.
So I think a lot of properties were affected on Flying Point, and anybody who was contemplating building a new house got that variance.
That's probably the best way to see it. It's
How tall is
009.
the actual building itself? I mean, at the level where
46
FEMA
feet.
stops. How much?
46 feet.
No,
You're
that's
talking
the
about
total height. I'm talking about the actual structure itself.
I don't understand the question.
From the bottom of the concrete base slab to the top of the new structure.
Yeah, right.
It is about 27 and a half.
Feet. Yeah, I thought it was pretty small.
Yeah.
So I'm just
It's pretty
No, I
making a
impressive.
point for you. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
All right.
But to illustrate what we were saying before, here's the deck, and by sinking the deck and actually getting the roof, at certain points the roof height is the ceiling height is less than 8 feet. By sinking the deck, we're able to provide the required 36 inches of a barrier. So you're not going to have this. I'm not asking for relief for
a terrace on the top.
Yes, exactly. Thank you.
Okay. I have a couple of questions.
Sure.
Actually, Katie, I have a question for you. Is there ever a time limit on, I know sometimes with building permits, if you don't build within a period of time, you've got to go back and submit another building permit. Is there a time limit in terms of variances? Because the original variance that John is referring to was 2009.
Yeah, just like John said, typically the variances run with the land.
So it doesn't, there's no time constraint.
No, there are sometimes with coastals. The coastal variance. No, I know, but she's asking. But no, typically the variances run with the land. The way that this board tries to keep the variances tight is by referring to specific plans and specific surveys, and that's kind of what I was going to say to John before. If you modify the house, your variance doesn't necessarily run with the land because we're granting the variances based on those, and that's.
Yeah, but my counter to that would be that if I'm proposing something that is both from a volumetric point of view and a height point of view 1/3 of what was originally granted, if I may, I know boards don't like to hear this, but it would be almost textbook arbitrary and capricious.
No,
to
he's
deny
kind of talking
this.
about that
Yeah.
kind of res judicata. Like we've already made these findings. We've already made a finding that there is no
Well,
negative
except
impact.
that I still go back to the fact that in 2010, you had a modified decision which modified the original variance
By
to one
300
story.
square feet to build a.
No, I'm talking about that you went back to a one story versus a
No,
two-story.
no. It modified it for the plans, but not as to height. Not as to height. It modified
said-
it because at the
it
time
says
I needed some
grass
dune
relief.
crest relief.
To reduce the size of the originally approved residence,
Right.
which required a height residence for
That's right.
two-story,
Mhm.
to a single story.
By 275 square feet, number one, and number two, the relief that was requested was some dune crest relief that was needed at the time, but is no longer necessary. So my position is that
They've also
doesn't.
included that, but this is,
I don't think that I don't think anyone would find that that somehow vitiated the
well,
two-story
it
variances.
gave me pause.
Okay,
Let
no,
me
I
just say that.
understand.
It
I
gives
understand.
me- it gives me pause.
It's an appropriate question. I would grant you that, Susan.
You know, I actually went to see the site. You know, a lot of the houses are built up, clearly. I mean, you know, not all of them, but, and it looks like there is an easement on the western portion of the property. There's no, okay.
It's not an easement, yeah.
Oh, that's
It's
private
a
property because there's a
boardwalk.
boardwalk, okay.
Yeah.
All right, I didn't know whether that was, it had like a gate, I didn't know whether
Right,
that was
it's
for
not
people
an
across the street or whatever. It's heavily vegetated, but one of my concerns was that and I appreciate the fact that it's a smaller version of what you originally were planning. It's so close to the street. I mean, it is, you know, it's not as set back as some of the other ones that also have very high.
It's close to the
It's very
street.
close
It's
to the
close to the street because this municipality has said that's where they want it.
Yeah, no, I get
And
it.
you can go up Surfside, you can go up Mid Ocean Drive. I have clients say to me, "I've got to build 30 feet from the street." And I said, "Well, you're on an oceanfront lot, and that's where they push you."
Yeah,
You can see on 005 that we actually did set the facade back from the front facade, of the facade of the addition back by about 8 foot 8 inches.
So my concern was really that it would just be so imposing.
But you had more
because it's so
imposing.
close to the road, whereas, yeah.
Yeah, but you had 2/3 more imposing mass, which clearly didn't on this very property with no set of facts other than the fact that dune crest relief is no longer necessary. That we're not problematic. I did. It's always a little bit dangerous to use that little arrow on the Google Earth Pro, but the house across the street from structure to structure is about 146 feet, which is a little bit shy of half of a football field away. I think I might have that. Let me see if I have it right. Hopefully somebody put it.
No pyramid relief required?
No, everything, no sky plane, no period relief, nothing.
See, there's a diagram.
Here, let's see.
009 shows
I have,
behind the pyramid line.
oop, I'm sorry. Do we have just
Katie, do you need this marked in?
Yeah, might as well.
so? Give me one back. I'm sorry.
Oh, you want
I
them
always
back?
do that. No, I just don't want
Oh.
them back. I always do that. I always.
This is multiple copies of the same thing?
And then, so what I did, and again, it's always a little bit dangerous. They're pretty good. That little.
Do you have one of
ruler.
these, John?
Oh,
Did you keep one of these?
no, I think I've got them both.
Okay.
Yeah, and that little ruler on the Google Maps is actually pretty accurate. So from the existing house, which is right there, to the southerly edge of the house across the street, it's approximately 140 linear feet, so, which doesn't create any issues with light and air, all the stuff that you have, all that sort of good stuff that you have, front yard, side yard, et cetera, setbacks. But in terms of where it is on the street, I can't be penalized for building, a lot of these are pre-existing, I can't be penalized for building something where the town code pushes me because I'm on the ocean. That's what happens. Coastal erosion hazard area law says that we want you to go up to 30 feet from the road. And that's unfortunately, or fortunately, whatever. Well, unfortunately, for some people may think, but from a location further away from the dune systems and from the road, that's a good thing. And what it does do is create houses close to the road.
John, what is the elevation in the 80-16 flood zone?
What is the elevation?
18 feet?
You have 16 feet, then you have 2 feet of freeboard.
Okay, and when I looked at the plans, it looked like you started at 21. Is that correct, Mr. Lee?
The finish floor is at 29.
It's the finish
The bottom
floor.
of the slab is at 19.
That's
Is that
18.
19?
You have.
All right, I'm
yeah.
just saying.
No, no,
So
remember,
18,
You
I
have
understand.
lowest horizontal structural member Because you're in the limit of moderate wave action, and then you have a floor package.
I got it, but so the bottom is at 19, not at 18.
Correct, it's a foot higher. You wanted, the owner wanted a little bit better view of the horizon.
Was there ever a second story to this?
No.
I know you
Never.
keep saying no, but there's a CO that says two-story. Why
No,
is that?
you got it wrong. You know what happened? The building
Right,
department.
but I
Building
mean-
department does oftentimes, the data entry people, they look at a building permit as opposed to what was eventually built. I've seen that happen before, but there ain't no second story there.
Is there anybody else on the board who wishes to be heard on this? Okay, is there anyone in the audience who wishes to be heard on the application of 1285 Pine Point Road? Madam, you can go to the podium or you can come up here. So are you an attorney?
I am not.
Okay, let me swear you in. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Please state your name and address.
My name is Linda Packard. I'm at 1274 Flying Point Road. I am the property across the street and also to the west of it. So both.
Oh, you have both, west and.
And literally that the walkway that you're asking.
Yeah,
That's what
that was yours. Linda Pepper,
Probably
is it?
Packard.
Could you spell it, please?
Packard.
Okay, thank you, Linda. Okay, what is your testimony?
So unfortunately, I could not hear Mr. Lee at all. I was craning my neck. So primarily why I wanted to come was to ask some questions about this sitting area that's supposed to be on top of the building, because I also have that same concern that the building is X amount of height and then you add another however many feet of decking, railings, what have you, and suddenly this is climb. So I just wanted clarity on exactly what was happening with that. So I hear that it is sunken, but I still don't understand.
Mr. Lee, why don't you respond?
This is how the sitting area is sunken.
Yeah.
Right, but it's the railing.
There is no railing.
There is no.
There's no railing.
There's no railing.
So the
Unlike
top of the
So
unlike
they-
your house.
Sink it.
Right.
There'll be a 36-inch barrier that will meet code.
It will meet code. And
Will
that
meet code.
and that top of that is the
No, the flooring
No,
is
that's her house.
36 inches down. From
Okay.
where that.
right, but the top of
This is
the
her
that's what I'm saying, but the top of the rail is the height that they're going for the variance for. That's what I want clarity for. So that that
I
that
think
is
It's not just the top of the rail. There's habitable space there. There's a scooped out area
Yeah.
that will be a deck.
Right, but people will have chairs and whatever.
right. Oh yeah, no, I understand that part, but it's the height is the actual, so you're sitting and whatever that protection is so you don't fall off the roof
That's
is
the
going to is the variance height that you're going for.
That's what I understand. Am I correct?
Yeah.
Okay, thank
Yes,
you,
but
Mr.
it's more than just the sitting area. There's habitable space there as well.
What do you mean by having?
Well, it's on the plan. There's the plan. See, there's a roof terrace here, and then there's a roof on top of the area, not on top of the.
Right, but you
Yeah.
cannot, so the roof over the penthouse, or the second floor.
Yep.
Is, top of it's at 46 feet.
I'm sorry.
Top of it is at 46 feet.
Okay.
And then the actual roof terrace is at 43 feet. And so, and it's basically an A. roof.
Right,
So
right.
that small piece in the middle is the seating
Right,
area.
right.
And all of the space around it is just roof service, you can't walk. It's not like that.
Right.
And,
Yeah, but my question is that whatever the edge of the roof, I mean, whether you're sitting down or what have you, that the maximum, whether you want to call it the rail, whatever you want to call what is enclosing the seating area that is exterior of the house, is at the max height that you're going for the variance. It's not
It's not
the deck and then you're doing another 4-foot railing on top of that.
No.
Okay, that
Correct.
That was my first question.
Right.
The second thing I just wanted to bring up and just ask the board to do, when this when the original proposal, there were a lot of additions and I'm not using the right word, apologies, conditions, yes, that the property had to adhere to in terms of like egresses and what have you. I don't have them with me, I apologize, because I only found this out, that this was happening recently and went to a different address, not where I was. So just to make sure that those are actually still being followed and adhered to, I can tell you, I mean, I'm friendly with the neighbors, so we're trying to work it out. But and if you were at their property, where the walkway is, they built right on the property line. I mean, right on the property line, a huge retaining wall. And so they cannot, amongst other things that happen, in order to have the egress to their property to get to, say, their propane tanks or what have you, I'm constantly getting people trespassing on mine. So we're trying to work that out, but there was conditions that were back in 2010 that we're supposed to adhere to that I just request that maybe you take a look at.
Those are likely the conditions of the coastal erosion
There's the
permit,
coastal
right?
erosion
Like the
permit,
revegetation
yeah.
and things like that. And
Revegetation, which by the way didn't happen on my property. That was one of the conditions that was supposed to happen, but it didn't happen. But it was also that egress that was supposed to have not
Are
interfered.
you saying that in order for them to get to the propane tanks, they have to go on your property?
They don't have to, but they do, because the gate that is there, that you can't access properly.
Is that an enforcement issue?
yeah, I mean, those would likely be conditions of the building permit. I know why you're saying that because
yeah.
I'm looking at the 2010 one, but
Mhm.
those all came from the referral to the coastal erosion hazard administrator, and those
Right.
were part of the coastal erosion.
Right, and was
permit.
supposed to happen, but.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and
Well,
those won't be a condition of this
Okay,
variance this
okay.
time because
Fair
they're not asking for any variances from the coastal erosion law. You know, this would just simply be, you know, the height, and then those would likely be part of the
Right.
building permit and the coastal erosion.
Well, except that if Mr. Bennett is relying upon that variance to justify the 46, then I assume that the conditions of that variance should be still applicable to our.
I don't know what conditions are being spoken of, somebody could specifically,
That's what I'm saying. In the 2010 variance. Well, no, that was to the one story.
That was the one story one. There's a 2000.
2009.
2009.
It was in 2009, right?
Repairing, restoring, and vegetating the dune.
Yep, that's been done.
Addition of dunes.
Well, it was
sand,
done on
and
your
beach
property, but it was supposed to be
grasses.
done on mine too.
All right. Well, I would suggest.
Well, why
that-
would you think that it should be done on your property?
That was that's what I'm saying. There was conditions because we went through all this. They had to come onto my property in order to build the house. They had to literally.
But that's what I'm saying. That wasn't part of this.
No,
that wasn't part
I
of this
agree,
decision.
agreed. But there are some others. I just don't have the wording.
Yeah,
so I
no,
don't wanna
and what I'm
misspeak
saying, yeah,
and-
but again, what I'm saying, all right, so the 2009 one was talking about the height. It was also talking about the coastal erosion variances, which allowed the retreat and the reconfiguration and the construction of the existing dwelling.
Right.
Right, so now you're just putting an addition to it. You will have to get a building permit.
Mhm.
Will you have to get a coastal erosion permit?
If the building department asks us
Right,
to,
and that's
we
what I'm
will.
saying, if they have to, all of those things will be it. And if they were trespassing on your property or revegetating it, that was probably something that you dealt with the applicant and possibly with code. But it wasn't that revegetating her property was not a
That's
condition of this.
Right.
Okay.
So many words.
I hope you understood that.
I did actually.
Excellent. Excellent. Is there anything else?
No, I just really wanted the clarity on that whole upper structure and where the height was, because when this was originally, you know, it was built higher than it was originally starting at. So I understand why they're going and doing this, and you know, everybody needs to get their height. But I was most
you had a
concerned about
concern,
this
yes.
extra seating that it now starts getting to 55 and
Yes,
60
no.
feet in the air.
I'm hoping that you're satisfied with the response from Mr. Lee, which I think addresses
Well, I think
some of
it
your
answered the
concerns.
question that the height, the maximum height of everything is going to
The
be.
maximum height of any structure will be 46 feet.
46.
Thank you. 46.
All right. Is there anyone else in the audience who wishes to be heard on this application? Is there anybody on Zoom who wishes to be heard on this application? All right, this is mine. So, We're going to hold this open for written comments until August 16th with a decision on September 5th.
Second.
Oh, if I may, was there a referral on this, hopefully?
What?
Was there a referral on this? Does this have to be referred?
Well, Candace and I were talking about that, and I wasn't.
I mean, you can't take any, you heard the hearing, you can close, you just can't take any action.
Yes, we were discussing whether or not it needed a referral, and we weren't sure because it doesn't, you're not asking for relief from 138.
No, that's true.
But again, I wasn't sure if you probably have a permit to have it.
Yeah, I don't think, I just want to make sure that we were on the same page.
Do you want to hold it open until we get clarification on that?
No, I don't think so.
I'm referring to my attorney.
Yeah,
also.
Either way we can close it, I just wasn't sure.
Either way you can close it.
Before we close, what is it you're trying to show us?
That's the character of the neighborhood, that's the neighbor's rooftop deck.
All right, all right.
I'm not gonna make a referral because you're not asking for a variance from 138.
I agree, I just
Okay.
wanted to make sure. I'm sorry, thank you.
All right. Okay, who seconded that?
I did.
Okay, Mr. Leonard?
Aye.
Ms. Kane?
Aye.
Mr. Macedonia?
Aye.
Mr. Revit?
Aye.
Mr. McDonald?
Aye.
Ms. Burgess? I chair votes aye.
Thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Okay, number 4 on the agenda, Michael Teitelbaum and Michelle Teitelbaum, 8 Bob White Lane, Remsenburg, Suffolk County Tax Map number 900-381-3.4.1. Applicant appeals the building department's denial of a permit for a proposed swimming pool and hot tub. In the alternative, applicant requests relief from the following provisions of the town code for the proposed swimming pool and hot tub. 1. Section 330-11 Residence Districts Table of Dimensional Regulations for an accessory front yard setback of 51.8 feet where 70 feet is required. And 2. 330-76D Placement of accessory building structures and uses in all districts, and 330-83C yards to allow the swimming pool and hot tub to be located within the required front yard of principal building. In addition, applicant requests relief from Town Code Section 330-83A4 to allow a deck 1 foot above ground level to be located within the required front yard for the principal building and any other relief necessary.
1 second. The board has jurisdiction.
Okay,
Okay.
should I proceed?
Yes, no, we have to swear people in. Mr. Bennett, do you want to state your name and address, please?
Oh, my name is John Bennett, Bennett and Reed, 2 Coleman Lane, Southampton, New York. Michael Teitelbaum is to my right, and his wife Michelle is in the audience. Bruce Nagel, project architect, is here, but also Eric Copeland and Chrissy Copeland from KCC Design and Build, they're the general contractors also.
Okay, who's testifying? Who's going to say something at the desk? Are you
Well,
gentlemen both going to probably?
Why don't you swear
Let's
Bruce
swear
in
you
and
in.
swear Michael in?
Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do, thank you.
Please state your name and address.
Michael Teitelbaum, 8 Bob White Lane, Remsenburg, New York.
Okay. You swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Please state your name and address.
Bruce Noggle, architect, 69 Main Street, West Hampton Beach.
Bruce, is it last name, is it N-A-G-E-L or L-E?
E.L.
E-L, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Bennett.
Thank you. This is a very common thing for you folks to see. We're coming to the Zoning Board of Appeals because this property, which is a property in excess of, it's almost 3 acres in a R40 zone. So from a density point of view, it's a great thing. I believe that this is a merger of 2 lots on a filed subdivision map. So again, it's a very, very tender and sensitive use of the property. We spent an awful lot of time with Marty Shea and the Conservation Board coming to an understanding as to where these structures should go. Because although the property is that fair to say?
No, Robert just left.
What?
I normally hear Marty say have to smile.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Marty was on my property 30 times. So.
Well, that's good.
That's
It
good.
was good.
Oh,
And
yes.
We acquiesced everything you want.
Better 30 times before than after.
Including moving an osprey nest.
I did build an osprey nest.
Oh, that's nice.
And they had just had 3 babies.
Oh, that's lovely. Okay, keep going.
But we spent an awful lot of time because, honestly, I fought Marty hard on this because it's bulkheaded. His position was there was some vegetation on the landward side of the bulkhead that gave him jurisdiction. We spent an awful lot of time working out, even where you have, the town code says if you're 50 feet from a bulkhead, you're fine, but Marty wanted some fairly extensive buffering on the landward side of the bulkhead. And we also spent an awful lot of time with the Conservation Board as to where these structures should go. Because if you were using a 100-foot setback, you'd have into here and into here. But Marty recognized that it was bulkheaded, but he wanted to preserve some of this area that was landward of the bulkhead. We also went to great attempts to keep the bulk of the development within the X zone. And that's really, really important because, as you know, the X zone is not an A zone or a V zone. So under the models, the computer models, during a significant flood event, there's not supposed to be any flooding here, but be that as it may, that was the attempt to keep it in the X zone. And one of the ways we were able to do that was we're going to build this house on an existing foundation, which is very, very important, and is sort of the touchstone for how everything with Marty's agreement got taken care of. And that's an important thing with that. I have the contractor here. I believe we have somewhere here a letter from him, but we'll have him testify that to rebuild this foundation in the existing area, we couldn't use this foundation. It's $350,000 to rebuild this very extensive foundation. So that's.
So the whole house is now located on top of an existing foundation.
Yeah. Well, there's nothing there now but the foundation.
Okay, but did you expand the foundation or just use what was there?
Oh, there'll be some expansion.
Some
expansion.
But
yes.
you used what was currently there.
Yes,
Thank
what was currently there. I just want to make sure that I thought I had that with me. Hold on a second. If not, I'll keep going and we'll come back to it. Or I'll just have them testify. I'll just have the contractor testify. In any event, what the touchstone of this entire application, as far as I'm concerned, and I simply don't understand. Again, I'll say it, but I simply do not. I'm going to say this again. What I said in the last application is, I don't know why I'm here. I don't know why I'm here. Why am I here?
Because we enjoy your commentary. So
okay, thank you. Well,
I know. I touched you.
And it's one word. It's not one word. It's a couple of words. Distance from street. This is what the town code says. I've highlighted it for you. What is a setback for accessory structures? It's a distance from the street. It's not the distance from, it's not a front yard setback, it's a street setback. And I've had this conversation many times. I'm going to show you some lots where the town has agreed and then sometimes hasn't agreed, I guess. But I know this is a zoning law. It's in derogation of a person's property rights at common law, and it's supposed to be construed against the municipality. So what have we done here? We have this pool is about 150 feet from Bob White's Lane. That's the street setback. I don't know why I have to get a variance for the distance from the street. It's not the front yard. Yes, the front yard on a non-oceanfront waterfront lot. The front yard is the waterfront. Mm-hmm. But it doesn't say. It says yards, accessory, and structures, distance from street. It doesn't say where you have to be in the front yard. It says the distance from the street. So what I thought might be interesting, or maybe is boring, I'm sorry, is how did this happen? How did this all happen? What I have for you is the 1972 code and the 1984 code, which I keep all the different codes in my office because this sort of legislative history gets lost. In the 1972 code, and it all comes from the definition of lot line in front. The 72 code said the street right of way at the front of the lot, except in the case of a flagpole lot, the front lot line used for determination of the width shall be one of the internal designated by the owner. It doesn't say anything about what the current code says. Where did that come from? In 1984, 1984, this is what was added. This is Fred Field was the town attorney at the time. In the case of a lot with the exception of an oceanfront lot, a waterfront lot line shall be considered the front lot line. The lot line opposite the front line shall be considered the rear lot line. Where a rear lot line is a street right-of-way, which is what we have here, the required rear yard for an accessory building or structure shall be double the required width, and that's about 60 in this instance. We're about 150 feet away. So what happened, and my understanding is that what was happening, there's a subdivision just south of Sag Harbor, the village of Sag Harbor. It's called the Round Pond subdivision. It's about 60 lots in there. They wrap around Round Pond. The zoning was R10, if you can imagine. Wrapped around all these things. I did a lot of research on the subdivision. It was submitted the application was made in December of 1965. It received final approval in August of 1966. A 60-lot subdivision. It took about 7 months. It was the old days. But in any event, what was happening was that people were putting accessory structures 10 feet from the road because, again, that was the waterfront line. So that was the rear and the front were flipped. So what they did was they amended the code to double the setback, and that's how they took care of the fact that they wanted to call this the front yard, and then when you have this as the rear yard, oh, you've got a rear yard setback, but it's really on the street, so we're going to double it, and that's how they handle it. So I'm not quite following why I'm here, because this is I meet the street setback from the street. I'm probably 5 times what the setback has to be from the street. I don't know why the building inspector has insisted on talking about it that way. But I mean, I'll put the variance application in, which I think is the classic variance when you have a conservation board approval, a DEC non-jurisdiction letter, all of this stuff, very, very closely and quite cooperatively negotiated directly with Marty Shea and Mr. Titlebaum. I mean, it was actually a great thing to see. Usually people send their experts to meet with Marty, come to feel. Michael and I met with Marty a couple times, and it was very, 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 very helpful in working it all out. Bruce was there too.
I was the president of a beachfront community for 19 years, and I dealt with the DEC. I actually dealt with Marty's boss every week of the whole summer. So Marty came to me, him and I came to a meeting of the minds. He approved it. Then he came to me and he said, Michael, you're going to take the house down, where the osprey's going to go. I said, Marty, tell me what you want to do. Then he came back and he said to me, I want you to really expand this area so the ospreys are not bothered by a lawnmower coming into them. I did anything he wanted. And then we got the approval, and then the building inspector gave us the approval, and 3 hours later they called back and said, we're pulling the approval, which none of us can figure out why.
Is that because of this?
Because of what?
Because what you're here for.
Yeah.
That's what we're here for.
Yeah. They approved it and then they pulled it.
Well, they've
So wait, John, is it your position that there is no setback for an accessory structure on the front yard where it's waterfront?
Well, effectively there is, because if you're on the water, if you're on the water in a non-bulkheaded lot, that's a great question, because the code takes care of it very handily.
Okay, explain.
If you're on a waterfront lot that's not bulkheaded, if it's an approved lot, your setback is 100 feet. If it's an unapproved lot, your setback is 120.
Was that the principal structure?
Excuse me, that's the principal structure.
For principal structure?
No, for any structure. For
Any structure, including accessory?
Yes.
Why are you looking quizzically, Katie?
Excuse me?
Why are you looking quizzically?
I'm just listening,
Oh,
and
okay.
I'm getting lost because I'm not.
Oh, let me start again.
Yeah.
Okay. The question, which is a good one, is does that mean you can put an accessory structure on a waterfront lot wherever
Anywhere
you
you
want?
want.
Yeah, exactly. The code takes care of that by saying that you have a wetlands code, and that wetlands code says on an lot that's already improved, you have to be 100 feet from the wetlands. On an unimproved lot, you have to be 125 feet for any building or structure that has greater setbacks for a wastewater system.
Now, what about in a bulkhead
On
scenario?
a bulkhead, it's 50 feet. Because the recognition is, the DEC just gives you a non-jurisdiction letter, because they understand that when a bulkhead has been installed, you no longer have any interface between the upland and there's no really intertidal area. Yeah.
Where is that in the
Kevin will
code?
tell you that. Excuse me?
Where is that in the code?
50 feet in the bulkhead?
Mhm.
For the bulkhead, it's in the
Wetlands?
in the wetlands law, yeah. Okay. I promise you it's there. I used to know the chapter and verse, but
Oh,
I
you should.
promise you
Come
it's
on.
there.
I think What?
I think it's
325?
Oh, it's 325, I just can't give you the specific code section, I'm sorry.
You're failing us.
But what is your position for the zoning purpose, from 330, what is your
And
position?
effectively, there is none, because it's a distance from street setback.
But you have an alternative that you've also presented,
I have a variance alternative,
a variance
Variance.
alternative. I would say,
which I'd be more than happy to put in.
okay, I think everybody has just assumed that the front yard line is the one that we're talking about. So I personally feel I'd feel better about the alternative as opposed to your definition of the street and the setbacks from the street. Because I think in reality, that's how we look at it. I mean, we consider the front yard line as the waterfront, bulkhead, whatever it is. And that's where we generally take our measurements.
Say that again, because what
I don't think I could. But.
No.
I'm gonna stop it right there. I know what you're saying because you want to
Yes.
grant the alternative, but I think this is an opportunity to. I think what you're saying is we've been assuming that the front yard is the waterfront, and that's not what it says. And so I think, just based on what you're saying there, you disagree. You agree with what John is saying, which is the town code is not correct.
It's our attempt to, it's our opportunity to
Correct,
interpret it.
and that's kind of,
Yeah.
remember when we did that with the yards, the required yard,
Absolutely.
the required front yard? So I think just by you saying that you agree with John, the building department is not interpreting the town code correctly. If it says distance from street and this is not the street.
So
It's
what
okay
I'm
to say
saying-
they're wrong.
What I'm saying is that they need to change
Correct.
the definition in the chart.
Let's talk about that though, because what did they do? What did they do? They this is the 30-foot front yard setback for an accessory structure, 30-foot street foot setback for an accessory structure, but they doubled it because they recognized it was a waterfront lot. So they've taken care of the ill along the street, and then you have a town code section, another entire chapter, 325, that pushes you much more than any accessory setback, so whatever it be. It really does. This is, but for the bulkhead where it's 50 feet, and again, we played ball with Marty because he said in these area, the bulkhead is this wetlands on the other side of it. We said, okay, we won't fight you there, but recognize that this pool handily meets the 50 foot from the bulkhead setback, which is what the town code says. If there wasn't a bulkhead here, you'd have a 100-foot setback for all structures on an already improved lot, 125 feet for any 125 feet on an unimproved lot. So the worry, if I may, is taken care of by a much more significant setback and another section of the town code, 325. Because what would you say? Think about it. What would you say? What would you do? You'd say, oh, we should have greater setbacks on the water as well, but you have a town code section that more than triples what you could effectively get at under zoning. It's a 30-foot setback, which if it's on the street where you have a waterfront lot, you double, but if it was here, what would you say? You'd say.
But this is with the bulkhead. What I'm worried about is a little bit of precedent with the unimproved or whatever. It's not 50 feet. It's 100, 120.
You have a code section. You have an entire section of the code and a very protective conservation board that does that for you.
Well, I think it needs to be clarified. And I feel very,
Well,
I mean, I just don't, I understand what you're saying, but I have to say that we've just always assumed that the front yard line was the water. And
It is. It is. For a principal structure, this would be 60 feet or 80 feet, but you have a much more extensive wetlands setback.
Yeah, but it doesn't apply because there's a bulkhead, so there's
But 50 feet
Less than
applies.
right, but still,
Right.
it's,
and this is 51.8 feet.
Which is, it complies with that.
So it
It's
complies
street-
with
it's
that
street
section of the wetlands
Yeah, right.
code.
It does.
So then
But usually what happens is this
why are
board-
we calculating where to put the accessory structure by reference to the street? I understand your argument perfectly. I mean, it makes
says
complete,
street.
it makes complete
It
sense.
says distance from street, and at the risk of being brusque, or I guess I'll just say it. That's what the code says. It says street.
And you
Doesn't say-
provided the section 330-5, which defines street.
And I also gave you the history of how it came about, because when the drafters saw, ooh, gee, we're gonna have these accessory structures that are gonna be, because the front yard is the waterfront lot, we're gonna have them on top of the street where we don't really want them that close.
The
So
street
we're gonna
being-
double it.
The street being the actual street.
It's the street being
Can
access.
we limit our opinion? Like, let's say we accept Mr. Bennett's position on the appeal. Can we accept it for the purposes of solely this property?
No.
Or does it become,
No, that,
what unintended consequences there?
it doesn't matter what the unintended consequences are. If you agree with Mr. Bennett that there is no distance from street here because it's the water, then you would say he does not need a variance from,
The pool's on the wrong side of the house for it to be a distance from the street.
Yeah.
And it's a waterfront.
and then you just leave it to the town board to fix the code as it relates to what is the setback that they want, or did they mean, do we just
Or
amend the
can't-
town code to say distance from street and or front yard, functional front yard as defined in the town code?
Right, which it doesn't say currently.
Correct.
Or
Exactly.
candidly, if you feel more comfortable, I mean, I'll keep my my interpretation argument in the record. But candidly, if you want to do it via variance, it doesn't matter as long as
I don't have a problem with the variance.
I
Because
prefer
do-
deciding on the appeal.
Well, listen, it's gonna
But
be,
if you,
it's gotta
if
be
you don't
both.
agree with me, you still have to look at the variance, which I think was
No, I agree with you.
And it's,
Personally, I
again-
agree with you, and I would decide on the
Again,
appeal.
this is what the board did with those required yards, and it went promptly to the town board for them to figure out what exactly they meant. But you remember, we had a bunch of decisions calendared, and we said to you, you don't need relief, you don't need relief, you don't need relief, because the way that the code was being interpreted was not what the code said.
Exactly.
So it's, I mean, there is no unintended consequence for you, it's, do you agree with this? But I do think, either way, we're protected, the board is protected in this instance because there was a wetlands permit issued. And
There's a
it's 50
wetlands
feet, and there's,
there's a wetlands.
Yeah, it's already been reviewed, and
Yeah.
there
And that's,
isn't a
I don't
problem
have a
with it.
problem with the actual location. I have more of a problem with how do we
Yeah,
get there?
just let's decide.
Yeah.
And I feel more comfortable in the alternative. John feels differently, but I feel
No,
more
no, no,
comfortable
no.
in the alternative.
Understand what I'm saying.
No, I think she's talking about that.
This John.
Not-
Oh,
yeah,
oh,
different
I'm
John.
so
We have a
sorry.
lot of Johns here.
I
John
apologize.
knows.
I mean, if you get me there via variance, I don't really care. I just have to candidly have to keep the interpretation argument in there as well.
I
If you didn't grant the variance.
Yes, but wouldn't you like to resolve it for any future application you bring that is similar?
Wouldn't
Wouldn't that be lovely?
I really have
I-
an obligation to one
Yeah,
client here.
yes.
Understood.
So, I mean, for me, from my perspective, I mean, I've owned the house for 3 years, and I feel like terrible. They said we had Susanna Herman and Bruce go in, and they said the building plans were within code. They gave me the demo permit. I demoed the house on my neighbors. I love my neighbors. I mean, I don't think you'll see any of them in the audience today. I feel terrible. Like I'm sitting there, and I don't want them sitting on a lot of dirt. So to me personally,
I
don't-
would like to get you to where you want to be.
Yeah.
It's just there are two different ways to do it.
And that's okay.
And
That's
I'm
okay.
on option B. John
Okay.
L. is on option A. I don't know how the rest of the board feels.
Well, that's
Absolutely, also.
a board's someone that has to make a decision, and
I'm happy
You
to
know, in
draft
the
it for you and
majority.
you can review it.
A what?
I'll draft it for you and you can review it with the interpretation.
I
Alright,
just
so
want
I
to,
would
and
like
I
to
also
keep it open.
appreciate. I know what you guys go through, the work you put into this. You know, this is not probably your main job, so I appreciate that. I
You're willing
just,
to
for me, it's just
I'll draft
been
it both
years.
ways. I'll draft it both ways for the board to look at, just as a straight up variance and as an interpretation. We don't have to keep this open. This is,
Okay.
you know, you have everything you need. You
Yeah,
just,
we have everything
to
we need.
process it is difficult, just like
I mean,
the
I have
yards
no
were difficult.
problem with the location. I have a problem with how we get there.
Yep.
And,
So,
and then I actually found Mr. Copland's estimate for what would cost to replace the existing foundation. It's rather
I
extensive.
don't have a problem.
So, anyway, and,
Thank you.
and it's a, should I spare everybody and not go through the
Yes.
analysis? Okay.
That's
You don't
just
have
spare
a problem
everyone,
with
because it
that.
gives me a heart
I
attack.
didn't have a problem with variance, no.
Any questions?
I don't
All
have
right,
questions,
is
I
there-
appreciate your time.
All right, wait, we're not done yet. Is there
Here's
anyone
mine.
in the,
Go ahead.
any more board questions? Is there anyone in the audience who wishes to be heard on 8 Bob White Lane? Is there anyone on Zoom who wishes to be heard on 8 Bob White Lane? Okay, Bob, this is yours.
Okay, fine. Been to the property, beautiful location.
Oh, you went over there to look at it?
Extremely familiar with the neighborhood.
Thank you.
We will close the public hearing, hold it open to 8/16 for written submissions with a decision on 9/5. However, we're gonna decide we're gonna.
Well, she's gonna draft 2 different versions.
Second.
Quick as you can, I'd appreciate it. I understand your
A
time.
decision on September 5th.
Thank you.
All right, Mr. Mastonia.
Aye.
Mr. Leonard.
Aye.
Ms. Kane.
Aye.
Mr. Reynolds.
Aye.
Mr. McDonald.
Aye.
Ms. Burgess. Chair votes aye.
Totally different note. I was happy to see, I just saw it on my phone, they let that Wall Street Journal reporter go.
You
He's
just saw it?
On his way to
It's been
the
on.
US.
It's on the phone for.
I've been working all day.
From this morning on.
This morning.
Well, it
Yeah.
broke and then
Oh,
it's
it's
just.
that right next to the thing. Could we move?
No,
Isn't
the
that
little thing, no.
right next to the microphone?
Yeah, it's not that they
That's
were
not
looking
it?
Started this.
No, they were looking at, I think.
You all have a nice evening. Thank you
All
very
right,
much for
thank
your
you.
time.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Good luck with everything. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Have a nice rest of the day.
Yeah, where's all that feedback coming
Something is
from?
pausing.
everybody.
Is
Yeah,
there
someone-
feedback? John, is it you, maybe? Maybe it's John.
Oh, now it's
The
gone.
feedback.
It was John Bennett.
What did I do wrong?
You're doing
Everything.
feedback on the mic. Feedback on the mic.
Just his presence sets it off.
Counselor.
Mr. Bennett.
Jimmy at Monterey, what?
Let's keep going.
Okay, number 6 on the agenda, application of Daniel Rosenblum, 22 Bay Avenue, East Quogue, Suffolk County Tax Map Number 900-341-1-17. Applicant requests relief from the following provisions of the Town Code, Section 330-76D, placement of accessory buildings, structures, and uses in all districts, and 330-83C yards to allow proposed detached garage/pool house to be located within the required minimum and total required side yard for the principal building and any other relief necessary.
Thank you. Can you have that email or
But John shows.
Would you
Board
like
has
to
jurisdiction, I'm
introduce
just waiting on,
yourself?
you gonna give it to me, Suzanne?
How far do I know?
Suzanne, do you want to just introduce yourself?
Every time you bang the table.
Yes.
Would you stop banging the table?
This is,
Julie.
this is John L's. John L.
Okay. No, this
No,
is
this
It's
is me.
Julie.
Julie.
Oh, Julie, I'm so sorry.
This is yours?
No, it says John.
Yeah,
Oh, it does.
22 Bay is
Okay,
me.
sorry.
No,
There you
we're
go.
doing this
No,
one.
we're not doing it?
John called 22.
Number 6,
No.
22 Bay Avenue, Daniel Rosenblum.
Number 5 didn't happen?
No, it's
No,
gonna be,
no.
Go
yeah,
back to that.
Oh.
Go back to that.
we'll come
Okay.
back to it.
Okay.
Sorry about that.
Okay.
Okay.
What was
All
that?
right, would you like to introduce yourself and I'll swear you in?
Susanna Herman and Consultants, 1319 North Sea Road, Southampton.
Do you promise to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Okay, thank you, Suzanne. Suzanne.
I'm just handing up 2 emails from a neighbor across the street who got their notice late. You have them?
I have them in the file.
Oh, you do? Okay.
Are they in the
The board
submitted?
has them, yeah.
Okay.
I thought you back to Suzanne. I'm sorry. I hadn't seen them and I just wanted to make sure we had them.
There should be the last two papers in this middle somewhere. Just put them in there separately.
And I have some photographs to hand up of the site and surrounding area.
Even if you do this. Oh, that's what
I'll go to Julie.
So this is an application for an accessory structure. It's a one-story garage slash pool house. It's for a property located at 22 Bay Avenue in East Quogue. There's an existing house and pool on the property, and the proposal for the proposed garage is in the side yard between the house and the property line. It meets the side yard setback, but the required side yard setback for the primary structure is 20 feet, and the garage is proposed at 14.2 feet from the side yard. There's no other place to put it on the property based on the location of the existing swimming pool, which was built back in 1982, and the existing house, which was built around 1910, maybe a little earlier. So it's a pre-existing house, which we got a variance to add on to it, and in order to keep the historic look of the house and not impact the view of that from the street, they added on straight back towards the rear. But what that did was create a situation where we don't have much space where there's not house and then the side yard. So this proposed garage would be located in the existing driveway in an area that's already cleared. And as I said, it meets the side yard setback. It's not out of character with the neighborhood. There are multiple garages and sheds and accessory structures that are 10 feet or closer to the property lines. Some of them are pre-existing. The one directly behind this property to the south, adjacent to the south, there's a 2-story garage that got a variance a couple years ago for a pyramid for a 2-story garage 10 feet from the property line. There are examples every adjacent property and beyond that. So unless you have any questions about those, I can provide copies of those surveys or variances if needed. But it's well screened. There's a huge hedge, which you can see in figure 2 of the photos. There's a stockade fence that goes along the side property line, as well as the hedge that goes along that property line, the side property line that's impacted. It's not going to impact anyone. It doesn't require a pyramid variance. It doesn't require a side yard variance. It's simply because it's between the house and the property line that we're here.
So I did visit the property. It's very tight. It is also heavily vegetated. As far as I could tell all around, I didn't drive in. But I am interested in knowing if you've heard from any of the neighbors, either that back neighbor in the south or the one as you're facing the house to the left in particular.
Not as you're facing the house to the left. No, I haven't heard from any of the adjacent property owners. The only property owner that we spoke with was across the street, diagonally, and they had no objection.
And you just need a variance of 5.8 feet for the side yard and for it to be placed in the side yard, and that's it, right? Okay.
Yeah, it's R20, so the accessory structure setback is 10.
10.
Which we need.
And it goes right with the driveway.
Right. They're reconfiguring the driveway slightly. They're moving the pool equipment over. It's designed exactly where it is because it lines up with the existing pool. The homeowner's son is an architect, and if we had to shift it over even a couple of feet, he would spend the rest of his life looking at it and being upset that it didn't line up with the pool.
I get that.
Again, it's just one story.
Right.
Yeah.
The
But
back,
it's a true aesthetic issue, it
Yeah.
seems like, in terms of the placement.
right. We don't want to put it closer to the house because that would crowd the house, the historic nature of that. We want to provide some space there, line it up with the swimming pool.
But even so, it's gonna be in the required side no matter where you put it,
No
up and
matter-
down the house.
Right.
That's what I'm
Right.
saying, increasing the setback is not gonna get it outside of the required.
Right. We can't move it to the other side of the property. We can't, I mean, you can't really drive around the pool to get to your garage. So really, this is the only place that we can put it. We don't have a lot of options here. And I don't think it's an offensive location to anyone.
Doesn't look like it to me. Is there anybody else on the board who wishes to be heard on this? Is there anyone in the audience who wishes to be heard on 22 Bay Avenue? Is there anyone on Zoom who wishes to be heard on 22 Bay Avenue? Okay, Julie?
Okay, so we're gonna close the public hearing, keep the matter open for written comment until August 16, with a decision for September 5.
Second.
Ms. Kane?
Aye.
Mr. Leonard?
Aye.
Mr. Masconia?
Aye.
Mr. Duffy?
Aye.
Mr. McDonald?
Aye.
Ms. Burgess? Aye. Chair votes aye. Thank you, Susan.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Suzanne.
Thank you. Good seeing you.
Have a good night. Okay, turning to number 12 on the agenda, 3310 Noyak LLC, 3310 Noyak Road, Noyak, Suffolk County Tax Map Number 900-14-1-66.5.
Okay.
Good evening, board members. Timothy S. McCauley of Council of Burke and Sullivan, 41 Meeting House Lane, Southampton. Just as an opening, I know there's a lot of new members on here. We had a full hearing on this application on November 2nd of 23. Then we had to have everything held up for the secret. I just got it in June. That's how long it took us. There was some things, it was a type 1, so there was a lot of stuff that had to get done, but it's done now. And it should be. in your
Unlisted, it was an
package.
unlisted.
Huh?
It's unlisted.
We called it an unlisted.
I'm sorry.
It was
Unlisted under secret, not type 1.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
I know, I just wanted to say it for the record.
You're right. My memory's not that good.
It's been a while.
I
So-
doubt that. I'm sure it's very good.
During this process of waiting for secret, we've been touching up the plans back and forth. I submitted in July a package which has the plans on it for the 2 houses. And then Candace called me today and said there was a number missing off for the average grade on building number 1. So I had that all fixed, and I have 2 full-size copies and 10 small-size copies. I don't know how many do you want?
Ken, how many do we need? 2 full-size plans?
I just, no, I don't need any big ones.
Yeah, the small ones you're gonna need 8.
8 what?
Just
Small.
to distribute to us.
Okay.
Actually, technically 7 because the lead is gonna be the other large one.
Give her the big ones.
Hand them all to Katie.
To you?
Katie.
That's what I thought, yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Mr. McCauley, I just wanted, you made reference to the fact that you have a lot of new board members. They're going to need to get some backup material on this because they weren't here for the original hearing. So that's pending, and I know that Candace is aware of that.
Okay. But I would ask the board members to go back to the video on 11.2
Absolutely.
and familiarize yourself, so in case I leave something out tonight or misspeak, you'll have the full.
One second. Susan, when you get those, I'm trying to catch Katie. You actually get to keep one of the large ones, and then one goes in the file.
I keep the large.
Yeah, she's kept both, but that's fine. Just put one in the file, and you keep one large one.
Oh, I
And
get the
everyone else
large.
has to be just one, Jess.
Here you
Thank
go.
you, Tim.
You get the
You
little
get
ones.
You get the little ones.
Okay.
Okay, so basically, this property is located in Noyak. It's a rectangular piece. It's a corner lot on Berkshire Drive and Noyak Road. What the applicant has there now is one family residence and a pool and one outbuilding, I believe. But this application is for permission to put two buildings, each containing 4 units. And all of these units will be affordable. We have to come to this board because we don't have enough property to meet the affordable under 216, that we don't meet all the conditions. So on the 108,000 square feet, we could basically divide this into 8 or 9 lots and then put a building on each one. But that's a very expensive proposition. We're trying to keep these affordable. So there's a little glitch in the code. And when you're in a Hamlet commercial that this property is in, you can only have 4 units to a lot. So even though we have 108,000 square feet, we can only put 1 building up. So that's what the variance is basically for. Also, there's a requirement that each of the buildings have 28,000 square feet.
2,800.
Pardon me?
2,800.
What did I say, 1,000?
Yeah.
2,800. That would be a big building.
I know, I'm just,
20, okay, so
Following
we're
along.
at 2,500 square feet. So we need a variance for that. And there's a little bit of, I think we meet the square footage for each of the apartments, but there's a little difference in there. So I would ask the board to approve the floor plans that have been submitted by the architect. And those are, the last ones were dated July 11th of this year. And the new site plan is dated today. So those are the things, the last iterations of,
So wait, you have new floor plans from July 11th, 2024?
yes. And the reason was there was some,
Where are those?
They were.
We don't have those.
A while ago.
Yeah.
No.
well, they're submitted, but you'll get them, I'm sure.
They should have them, because I only have one set in the file.
We don't have them.
I haven't
You
seen
wouldn't
it.
have had them tonight. They
No,
were-
no, no.
they were
Previous-
Previous package.
Previous hearings.
I put everything in the same packet, and I don't think I've got it, so,
Yeah, no.
All right, I'll be sure to give them to you.
yeah, if you would, just to make sure.
You
Tim.
have them though, right?
Yes, I did, because I looked at them earlier.
Okay.
Tim, can you just explain to the board, so this is a special exception use, what Tim's talking about. Can you tell the board, like, where you are with the planning board? You know,
I'm sorry, yeah.
where are you with the
Okay,
planning
yeah,
board?
so let me just, where we are. Not only do we have to get secret, but we'll have to go for site plan with the planning board, and we have to do the health department. The planning board approved the pre-app, but it's expired. That was in 21. So we're gonna go back. We went to the health department, that we were able, through Dave Wilcox's very extensive search, find enough credits to do the two buildings, but one of the credits turned out to be in not exactly where the health department wanted it, so they only want us to do 1 building for now, and we're searching for a better credit for that. And the town board has already given us the credits, but when I get a chance, I'm gonna go back over it probably give one of those credits back to the
And you're
town.
talking about sewage flow credits, right?
Pardon?
What kind of credits are we talking about? Sewage flow credits?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
And it took a year to find these, and then we went to the health department and they said no on the flow. They said if we find a credit, they'll approve it.
And
so that's where we are.
So you're still looking for that second
Yeah.
credit?
Yeah.
All right.
So my intention is to go back to the plan. I didn't do the original planning. Someone else did pre-app. My plan now is to go back to the planning board, and if this board grants me the 2 buildings, I'm gonna go back to the planning board and ask them to do it as a phase 1 and a phase 2 while I find that credit.
The septic technology you're employing is the more modern version, right?
Of what?
The septic
Oh,
technology
yeah, it's
that you're
the
employing?
IAs, it's a big
Right,
IAs.
that's
It was
just,
all designed.
it looked like it, but I just wanted to check.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm not an engineer,
It's okay.
but I think the Rayner Group is, and they,
It's required, right?
Just, you answered it already, thank you.
okay.
But this board does need something from the planning board. Can you talk to Anthony about getting us a copy of the pre-app, or I don't think
I can give you the pre-app.
Okay.
I can give you a copy of the pre-app. And Anthony, I think, is out this week, but I'm gonna try to get together with him or Claire or whoever this gets assigned to.
Right.
And my suggestion is to do the 2 buildings. One is a phase 1 and one is a phase 2.
Okay.
With a outside date on it, where we would have to come back if we don't get to the second.
Okay. Well, that would be good for us, for this board to have in the record, you know,
Right.
just.
Yep. We're now,
But can I just clarify, would you be asking this board to grant the variance for both buildings?
yes,
All right,
so we
But-
don't have to come back.
so you don't have to come back, but then we're still, where's the condition come in about, you know?
We wouldn't have a condition, and they did the secra for the whole project, so that's good. The secra, you know, otherwise, if you were trying to do the secra in phases, that would be problematic. The secra is for the entire project. Typically, this board, you know, we leave it to the applicant to get their approvals from the health department. We don't usually assume they
But
have
we,
them.
we wouldn't write in our variance a phase 1 and a
No.
phase 2.
No,
We would
that
just
would be the
approve.
plan.
Okay, okay, that's what I want to clarify.
Yeah.
Okay.
But don't you need to see the whole thing on a map somewhere? I mean,
Well,
we're
we
gonna
should
see
have,
the-
we should
we're-
have the whole
We're
thing.
gonna see, you're proposing a phased approach, but we're gonna see the total end product,
So
right?
That's all we've
Great.
ever
That's-
had.
Good, just wanted to check.
My object here is to get the 2 buildings from you, go back to the planning board. I don't know if they'll do it that way or not,
You'll find out.
but at least I'll be through this.
Understood.
And the health department
Okay.
wants to see a decision from this board before they go with the board of review.
Yep.
So we're waiting on that, and,
Okay, that makes sense to me, because I was getting confused on the timing.
yeah,
Yep.
so
Okay.
that's basically what it is, and a fuller explanation, I think, if you look at the hearing on November 2nd, it'll put it all together for you.
Okay.
Okay.
So, as best I can tell, there's a question as to whether we actually have the new site plans. Not site plan, we have the new.
They're in the file. I have one copy, so I'll.
All right, so you will
I'll make it
distribute
my
them
original.
to us.
Mhm.
The second part is that the new board members, you've requested go back to see the original hearing, which was November of.
I'll provide you with the
November
date and
2nd,
time. I'll
11.
On the hearing,
Okay.
so you know exactly where to go during the.
Okay.
Beautiful.
So what I would like to suggest is that we leave this open so that if they do have questions, they'll be able to direct them to you. In other words, I feel like I don't want to close the hearing and just wait for written submissions. I'd like to at least hold it open one more time so that the new board members have an opportunity to look at the original, and if they have questions on that, they are able to ask you.
Okay, that's fine.
Does that sound, Katie, does that
that's what
sound
you wanna do.
reasonable?
Yeah, I mean, it's up to
Because
the
we're still
board.
missing some information, and they
What-
have to do
what-
some
what
homework.
information are you
We
missing?
don't have, we didn't get a copy of the plans.
Okay, I just want to point out that the plans that were submitted in November, pretty much,
Okay.
what it was some
Okay,
changes in
I
some
understand.
square footage.
okay.
And the site plan
We got
only-
tonight.
Well, there were numbers on there that Candace wanted to change because she wanted the average grade from Noyak instead of Berkshire
Okay,
on building.
okay. But in addition, the new board members have to go back and take a look at the original hearing.
I'm not fighting you. I'm not
Okay,
fighting
okay, that was why I was explaining.
That's okay, I'm not fighting you on it.
Okay, okay, because you've got some other things you gotta do too, but I think, I mean, I get the sense that the board is pretty positive about this. I mean, unless anybody is raising major objections at this point, we just need some clarifications and give them an opportunity to take a look at things. Any board members want to? Is there anyone in the audience who wishes to be heard on this?
No.
Is there anybody on Zoom who wishes to be heard on 3310 Noyak Road?
No one on Zoom.
Tim, I'm gonna follow up with Anthony, but can you two, just so we can get the planning board, you know, I don't know if they've adopted that pre-app and they're sending it to us.
Yeah.
They adopted the pre-app.
Okay. But, you know, usually they refer it to us and they say our referral
And I
report.
wasn't involved,
Yeah.
so I don't, you know.
Well, let's
I don't
both
wanna
just follow
speak
up.
out of turn
Let's
on
just
that.
follow up with that.
Okay,
But that's gonna be my next step.
Okay.
Okay. okay.
Uh,
So what are we looking at in terms of an adjournment date? Katie,
The next meeting is the 15th, but
The
they might
15th.
not be here.
how about September 5th?
September 12th?
September 5th.
Fifth.
5.
5.
Okay.
That's right
Yeah, that's
after
right-
Labor
right
Day. Is that
Labor.
okay with you, or do you want to wait?
No, that's okay.
All right, so I move that we adjourn to September 5th.
Second.
Okay, Mr.
And I would
Maston?
just ask if,
Yeah, okay, no, go ahead. No,
do your motion, I'm sorry.
no, you want to ask before we?
No, I was just gonna say, if you do have questions, and you could get them to Candace, then maybe I could do the stuff in writing for you, so we would have a full package on the 5th.
Okay, that's a very good suggestion, board.
Yeah.
Okay,
And the homework assignment for the newer board members is sometime between now and when we convene again. Review the record and watch the video or whatever is required
Exactly,
for a briefing.
exactly.
Yes,
Exactly.
November 2nd, 2023.
It's in the,
Look at
it's
that
on your
hearing.
thing, it's like right
So
here.
I'm not sending you time frames, I don't know where it is on that agenda, so you don't have to sit there and watch the entire meeting.
Yeah.
I'll just
That's
give you a
good. Thank you.
time frame where it is.
All right,
Um,
so can we
board
just
members,
complete
since you
the,
have since you have your assignment from Mr. McCully.
wait, can I just get the vote first? and then-
Well, I wanna ask you about the date.
Oh,
That's why-
okay.
That's why I'm,
Okay.
so he's gonna be on September the 5th. So the board members can let me know by the 16th. If you have any questions, because this way I can get it to him and he'll have, because there's an extra
Right.
week in between. And it gives him more time to get together whatever package he wants to put together.
Okay,
No pressure.
August 16th.
Okay.
August 16th.
If you can.
okay, so I'm gonna continue with my motion,
Yes.
which Bob
Continue
seconded,
to second it.
to adjourn this until September 5th.
Yes.
Mr.
Aye.
Mastroianni? Ms. Kane?
Aye.
Mr. Leonard?
Aye.
Mr. Rabbit?
Aye.
Mr. McDonald?
Aye.
Ms. Burgess? Chair votes aye, okay.
Okay,
I think we
thank you.
got it.
Thank you. Good
I think
seeing
we
you.
got it.
Candace, what do you want to do with the re-app?
Well, good evening, thank you.
Thank
Thanks
you
so
very
much.
well.
Tim?
Yep.
Can you just stop over here for 1 second?
I certainly can, if you tell me to do it, I'll do it.
You're gonna call it just like you would call it a regular re-add, just do the address, name, address, tax map number.
And then say this
Re-add
would be
for 9-5.
for 9/5, okay.
There's no.
Okay, number 5 on the agenda, Frank Di Maria and Geraldine Di Maria, 5 Harris Lane, Suffolk, North Sea, Suffolk County Tax Map number 900-77-1-13. Do I need to read the description?
No.
This application is going to be re-advertised for our September 5th meeting. Do we vote?
Nope. Is there,
Okay.
okay.
Second, wait on the second?
No,
We
no,
don't
it's a
vote.
re-add.
You go right to your decisions.
Okay.
All right, we have, 4 decisions.
Not bad.
John, do you want to start us off?
I can
And
start
then-
off. I have a decision in the application of Eva Wisnowski, Suffolk County Tax Map number 900-358-2-19. This application is for property located at 53 Baycrest Avenue, West Hampton. Applicant requests variances for the location of an existing swimming pool as a result of a proposed addition to a house. Applicant also seeks a determination that the proposed detached garage is a subordinate or incidental building. This application passes the standards set forth in the New York State Town Law and the Town Code. Additionally, while the percentage of the size of the proposed garage is large as it relates to the house, this board does find its use and size to be subordinate/incidental, particularly since the proposed garage eliminates several other accessory buildings that are in pre-existing non-conforming locations on the premises and with conditions to ensure that its use remains accessory. Therefore, this board finds the proposed detached garage to be an accessory building and grants relief from the following provisions of the Town Code for an existing swimming pool. Town Code Section 330-76D, placement of accessory buildings, structures, and uses in all districts, and Town Code Section 330-83C, yards, to allow the swimming pool to be located within the required side yard for the principal building as a result of a proposed addition to the rear of the house, as shown in the survey prepared by Pat T. Secafico, Land Surveying PC, last revised October 4, 2023, and the plans prepared by Jason M. Ormond, Architect, last revised March 20, 2023, and the general notes dated May 2nd, 2024. The granting of this relief is subject to such other conditions and permits as applicant has already acquired or may otherwise have to acquire for final approval of the subject premises, including that the detached garage will not contain any cooking, sleeping, plumbing, or heating.
Second.
Mr. Leonard.
Aye.
Mr. Macedonia.
Aye.
Ms. Kane.
Aye.
Mr. Griffin.
Abstain.
Mr. McDonald.
Aye.
Ms. Burgess. Chair votes no. Okay, I voted no. Okay, I've got a decision in 45 Pinecrest Lane LLC, Suffolk County Tax Map 900-18-1-17. This application is for property located at 45 Pinecrest Lane, Noyak. Applicant seeks a variance for a single-family dwelling on a lot burdened by wetlands and 2 front yards, where a building permit was issued in error. After modifying the plans to reduce the pyramid from what was originally approved by the building department, and with the condition that the eastern property line be screened, this board finds that the application passes the standards set forth in New York State Town Law and Town Code. Therefore, this board grants relief for the following provisions of the Town Code. For a proposed one-family dwelling, 1. Town Code Section 330-6 General Regulations that references Town Code Section 330-11 Residence Districts Tables of Dimensional Regulations for a principal front yard setback of 20 feet where 40 feet is required. And 2. Town Code Section 330-84D Pyramid Law for a sky plane encroachment in the amount of 2,112 cubic feet on the east side, as shown on the survey prepared by F. Michael Hemmer, LSPC, last revised September 19, 2023, and the floor plans and elevations prepared by Jason M. Ormond, RA, last revised September 26, 2023. This decision is conditioned upon the installation and maintenance of a 12-foot high arborvitae inside the applicant's eastern property line by the applicant and all successors in interest. Grant to the foregoing is subject to such other conditions and permits as applicant has already acquired or may otherwise have to acquire for final approval of subject premises.
Second.
Mr. Macedonia.
Aye.
Ms. Kane.
Aye.
Mr. Leonard.
No.
Mr. Ribbon.
Abstain.
Mr. McDonald.
Yes.
Ms. Burgess. No. Chair votes yes. Okay, I have here, would you like to read this one?
Sure, with
There you go.
Helen's.
Read this one.
This is a decision for Mary Lee Crazy, Suffolk County Tax Map 900-122-1-52. This application is for property located at 90 Point Road, Flanders. Applicant requests variances to construct an undersized dwelling on a lot burdened by wetlands. This application passes the standards set forth in New York State Town Law and Town Code. Therefore, this board grants relief from the following provisions of the Town Code for a proposed one-family dwelling on a non-conforming lot. 1. Town Code Section 330-6 that references Town Code Section 330-11 Resident District Table of Dimension Regulations for a principal front yard setback of 30.5 feet where 80 feet is required. 2. Town Code Section 330-105A Schedules of minimum and maximum floor area to allow the first floor of the proposed dwelling to be 600 square feet where a minimum of 1,000 square feet is required. and to allow combined floor area of the dwelling to be 1,200 square feet, where a minimum floor area of 1,400 square feet is required.
Is there a second?
Oh, second.
Mr. Macedonia?
Aye.
Mr. Leonard?
Aye.
Ms. Kane?
Aye.
Ms. Burgess? Mr. McDonald?
Yes, aye.
Mr. Redmond?
Abstain.
The chair votes aye. Okay, one last, Martha Chapla, Suffolk County Tax Map 900-264-5-19. This application is for property located at 37 Fordham Drive, Hampton Bays. Applicant seeks a determination as to whether or not the existing garage is subordinate or incidental to the principal house because of its size and proportion to the main dwelling and its use, as well as for variances for its location. This board finds the detached garage use and size to be subordinate, incidental, and finds that the application passes the standards set forth in New York State Town Law and Town Code. Therefore, this board finds the existing detached garage is an accessory building and grants relief from 2. Town Code Section 330-11 Residence District Table of Dimensional Regulations for accessory side yard setback of 5.6 feet where 10 feet is required, and 3. Town Code Section 330-84D Pyramid Law for a pyramid encroachment in the amount of 6.47 cubic feet on the north side of the property, as shown on the survey prepared by Rasman Ali, LS, dated May 10, 2023, and garage plans and elevations prepared by the architect Vincent John Lucarelli, RA, last dated July 28, 2024. Granted, this relief is subject to such other conditions and permits as applicant has already acquired and may otherwise have to acquire for final approval of subject premises.
Second.
Mr. Leonard?
Aye.
Ms. Kay?
Aye.
Mr. Macedonia?
Aye.
Mr. Redmond?
Abstain.
Mr. McDonald?
Aye.
Ms. Burgess? Chair votes aye. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion
So
to
moved.
adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.